So first question, consider the following statements, following pairs. So consider the commission body falls under. So National Commission for ST. So and it is not come under. So Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment. So Central Vigilance Commission, Minister of Personnel, Interstate Council, Minister of Home Affairs, Finance Commission, Minister of Finance. So correct, I think. So National Commission for ST not come under Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment. So one is not correct. So two, Central Vigilance Commission, Minister of Personnel. I think it's correct. Central Vigilance Commission or Finance Commission, Minister of Finance. It's correct. Interstate Council, Minister of Home Affairs. It is correct, I think. So option is C. 2, 3 and 4 correct. Okay, 2, 3 and 4 correct. Interstate Council, Minister of Home Affairs, Central Vigilance Commission, Minister of Personnel. So 2, 3 and 4 are correct. So commission body, so Central Information Commission, Central Information Commission, Minister of Personnel, and Finance Commission, Minister of Finance, Indian Public Service Commission, Minister of Personnel, Interstate Council, Minister of Home Affairs, and Staff Selection Commission, Minister of Personnel. So Staff Selection Commission, Minister of Personnel, and National Commission for ST, National Commission for SC, Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment, National Commission for ST, Minister of Tribal Affairs, Central Vigilance Commission, Minister of Personnel. So Central Vigilance Commission, Minister of Personnel, National Commission for ST, Minister of Tribal Affairs. So now you can see in all the things. National Commission for ST, it is commanded by Minister of Tribal Affairs. Central Vigilance Commission, Minister of Personnel. Staff Selection Commission, commanded Minister of Personnel, and the National Commission for SC, Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment. It is commanded Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment, not others. So it is National Commission for SC. UPSC, Minister of Personnel. Central Information Commission, Minister of Personnel. So the Central Vigilance Commission is the main agency for preventing corruption in the central government. Central Vigilance Commission is the main agency for preventing corruption in the central government. It was established in 1964. So Central Vigilance Commission is the main agency for preventing corruption in the central government. It was established in 1964 by an executive resolution of the central government. Its establishment was recommended by the Santhanam Committee on Preventive Corruption 1962-64. So Central Vigilance Commission is the main agency for preventing corruption in the central government. It was established in 1964 by an executive resolution of the central government. Its establishment was recommended by the Santhanam Committee on Prevention of Corruption 1962 to 64. Please remember, it was recommended by the Santhanam Committee on Prevention of Corruption. Corruption is not important here, so they also reduce the corruption. Okay, reduce not, they also prevent of corruption. Prevention of corruption. So it is Santhanam Committee. Originally the CBC was neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body. Later in 2003, the Parliament enacted a law conferring statutory status on the Central Vigilance Commission. So Section 6A of Delhi Special Police Establishment Act violative of which of the following articles? So Section 6A of the following of Delhi Police Establishment Act violative of which of the following article? It is Article 14. So Section 6A of Delhi Special Police Establishment Act violative. So which of the following article? It is Article 14. Section 6A of the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act violative of which of the Article 14. not Article 16, not Article 19. So next question. So here is CBI is required to obtain the prior approval the central government before conducting any inquiry or investigating into offence committed by officers in the rank of joint secretary and above in the central government and its authorities. On May 6, 2014, the Supreme Court held as invalid and invalid the legal provisions that makes prior sanction mandatory for the Central Bureau of Investigation to conduct a probe against senior bureaucrats in corruption case under the Prevention of Corruption Act. So it is not important here. So please, okay, it is very important. A constitutional bench held that the 6A of the Delhi Police Establishment Act, which granted protection of joint secretary and above officers from facing even a parliamentary inquiry by the CBI in corruption cases, so was violative of Article 14. So mainly Article 14 is related. It's so the role of the special police establishment is supplementary to that of the state police force. Along the state police forces, the special police establishment enjoys the concurrent powers of investigation and prosecution for offence under the Delhi Police Establishment Act 1946. Next question. The National Green Tribunal derives its jurisdiction from which of the following acts? Now, National Green Tribunal derives its jurisdiction from which acts? It is the Forest Conservation Act, the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, the Public Liability Insurance Act 1991, and not for Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. It's not. So Green Tribunal here mainly National Green Tribunal. It is related to not to corruption. It is mainly related to Public Liability Insurance Act 1991. And here related, it is air and forest related. We know 1 and 2 must be correct, but 3 is the correct. It's the Public Liability Insurance Act 1991. So Forest Act and Air Pollution Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, like Public Liability Act 1991. So please remember here National Green Tribunal has jurisdiction over all civil cases where a substantial question relating to environment. Here a question related to environment, including enforcement of any legal right relating to environment. It is involved in and such questions arises out of the implementation of the enforcement specialized in Schedule 1 of the National Green Tribunal Act 2010. The act listed in Schedule 1 are the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. So Schedule 1 mainly they are the act listed in the Schedule 1. So here important it is. So such question arises out of the implementation of the enactments specified in Schedule 1 of the National Green Tribunal Act 2010. The act listed in Schedule 1 are the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. So it is mainly related to its Schedule 1. So water related and Water Prevention and Control of Pollution 1977, 1974, then 1977, and Forest Act, Forest Conservation Act related. Okay, Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, the Environmental Protection Act 1996, the Public Liability Insurance Act 1991, the Biological Diversity Act 2002. So it would deal with the environment, all environment laws on air and water pollution, the Environment Protection Act and Forest Conservation Act and the Biodiversity Act. The objective of establishing a National Green Tribunal was as follows: to provide effective and expeditious disposals of cases related to the objective they are establishing. What objective actually for establishing a National Green Tribunal was follows: to provide effective and expeditious disposal of cases relating to environmental protection and conservation of forest and other natural resources, including enforcement of any legal right relating to environment. So giving relief and compensation for damages or to persons and property other related matters giving relief and compensation for damages to person and property, to provide effective and expeditious disposal of cases relating to environmental protection and conservation of forest and other natural resources, including the enforcement of any legal rights relating to environment. Important, this line, all are important. So I also now forget now to provide effective and expeditious disposal of cases relating to environmental protection and conservation of forest, related to natural and other natural resources, including enforcement and any legal rights relating to environment. So relief and compensation for damages of to persons and property. So next we discuss another question. So thank you.